So, hello everyone. Thank you very much if you decided to join. And I really hope that it is going to be useful for you. So, once again, my name is Maggie, and today we're going to talk a little bit about MarTech and chatbots. This is the lecture number 6 within this online open lecture sequence. And I really hope that this is something that will help you and give you an overview of what's currently going on in MarTech. Currently, we begin with a little bit of a broader topics, but then further we will continue with more case-based approach. But nevertheless, this is also something that's crucial nowadays to know about these automatized ways of communicating with your customer, for example. And as usual, you can see here the QR codes, a little bit about myself. I've been in this field for and studying and researching and teaching for around 12 years. So I would love to share with you everything I know so far. And I would love to hear from you if you have any questions. So let's begin. Chatbots. I think that you've heard the word chatbots a lot, and it's quite understandable. And I think it's quite a relevant thing to always remember about because otherwise you would, be a little bit outside the conversation. But the thing is that sometimes we do not necessarily know what we mean by chatbot. Sometimes just the thing that replies to you, and sometimes the voice assistants are not included in the list of chatbots. Sometimes it is, and due to this type of confusion, I decided to begin with the definitions. So chatbots. According to the definition of IBM, this is a computer program that simulates a human conversation with an end user. So certain chatbots are based on artificial intelligence. Modern chatbots increasingly use conversational AI techniques such as natural language processing to understand their user questions and to automate responses to them. As usual, the links to the sources are in the slides at the end of the slides and also in the description of the recording of this video. And what can we see in here? So basically, as any type of technology that is communicating with customer, it tends to imitate. It tends to imitate, in this scenario, it tends to imitate the conversation. So on the question answer basis, we have an opportunity to retrieve some sort of information through the means of using this sort of a technology. And also with the emergence of AI, as a reminder, we had the lecture MarTech and AI on the third lecture. And I think we also, of course, covered natural language processing as one of the big parts of AI, which is used in MarTech, in marketing in particular. And generally, this is about the automation as one of the major trends in marketing and making the communication as individualized as possible. And further, we're going to take a look at different types of chatbots and several examples. And by the end, we're going to circle back to the MarTech and chatbot collaboration, let's call it that way. So types of chatbots. Generally, there are several types of chatbots, and this number of chatbot types tends to increase because when I began with this topic, it was not that much, or maybe it was a little bit even different in terms of definition and meaning. The same titles, the same names for the types, but it's really important to remember the major ones currently, and then just to add up on it whenever the new technology or approach comes out. But we're not really going to dive too much into that because sometimes it's better to know in the beginning just the basics and then to proceed with some more granulated ideas and topics, just not to be too overwhelmed in the very beginning. So let's begin. First is menu or button-based chatbots. These are the most straightforward and not that demanding type of chatbots. And this is about the fact that we just have a possibility to communicate with it as an interface that leads us to what we need. Rules-based chatbot is a little bit more advanced. It looks like the decision tree approach. So um, you can have several sequences of what button the customer may click, and it then further leads you to other branches of this decision tree. But we will see an example a little bit later. But nevertheless, this is one of the major types. AI-powered chatbots. So more or less, this is closer to the rule-based chatbots. However, AI helps to facilitate the better understanding of customers in terms of their request. If it doesn't really represent what is there written in the chatbots beforehand, but tries to write the synonyms between the words and what's there in the database of this chatbot. Voice assistants, or voice chatbots, these are the ever growing part when you need to communicate not by writing to the chatbot or within this dialogue window, but to talk to it. And through the retrieval of the textual information from the voice, it becomes possible for this chatbot to give you the answer you're looking for. Generative AI chatbots, these are currently the most advanced ones because they do not necessarily base on what's there scripted within that and don't necessarily follow quickly or slowly the decision tree paths created for them by the builder of this chatbot. But they rather tend to hold the more communicative, let's call it that way, approach in making this sort of a dialogue possible. And let's take a look at the types. So for example, right here we have the menu or button-based chatbot. So this is more about the fact that they initiate a conversation, for example, in this case. And here it's possible to see that we have the possibility to ask for this is the chatbot of the company text that actually creates the chatbot, builds them up for different purposes. And generally, you can see here that they immediately give you the menu of what you might be interested in, and you can then further proceed. It's not necessarily if the chatbot begins with menu or button-based approach, it's not rule based or it's not AI powered. It's sometimes from the beginning it looks like that, but then you further realize what exactly you're working with. Rules-based chatbots and AI-powered chatbots. I found a very nice example that helps to see the differences in the communication in the example, and this helps to understand the difference. So, for example, in the rule-based, you have the question, a set of requests, and for example, the bot asks, "How can I help you?" There is a reply from the customer, "When will I receive my refund?" And then the bot replies, "I'm sorry, but I can't understand your request. Please select from the following options." And it keeps repeating this menu of buttons the customer might be interested in. However, none of the keywords which trigger the reply of the of bot and helping them to do something not necessarily click with what the customer wants. So here we have a word refund. From the customer, we have the words money back, get my money back. However, as you can see, the return request is something that chatbot is aware of. The chatbot doesn't know that a money back or refund also refers to the return request. And this is more about the sequential, part of product is returned and you want to get your money back. Whereas, for example, AI-powered chatbot, it has a capacity to learn. So, for example, if it indicates that I couldn't reply to the customer, and it tends to, and they were dissatisfied, this information goes to the builder, chatbot builder, and then add it up, and hence the chatbot learns based on the sequence of requests. And for example, here with AI-powered approach, we can see the more or less similar discussion. So, welcome to Capacity. How can I help you today? The customer asks, when will I receive my refund? And then there is a little bit of time for the AI chatbot to think about that. So let me check. There is a little bit time of it going through the options. Your refund will be processed. You will receive the refund back on your original form of payment in the next 3 to 5 business days. And this full information is given and retrieved for already existing database and CRM systems. And then Joe replies, "Thank you so much." So this is a very quick thing that helps to save time and reduce the pressure put on support team. So, and a little note as well from IBM article about this is that with AI and natural language processing understanding, or natural language understanding, processing comes next. It's firstly important to understand capabilities. The AI bot can quickly detect all relevant contextual information shared by the user, allowing the conversation to progress more smoothly and conversationally. So obviously, you will agree with me. I believe that this conversation tends to look like more than like a conversation that it was with just rule-based or menu-based ones. Voice chatbots. Generally, they more or less work the same. They tend to be triggered by the keyword or some words that are there used by, but they don't really necessarily detect it by text. They use this information to through the understanding of the voice. So they try to detect the words in the conversation, and they put it in the text, and then based on this text, they follow the possibilities for them to reply to the customer. So, for example, we have the Siri, Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, and also, for example, the local Calendar AI. It's a Georgian firm. Well, not necessarily it operates, as far as I know, in different markets, but nevertheless, this is a very nice thing that got several accreditations and winning awards by being very good product. So generally, this is about the IVR powered by AI, like for the imitation of the front desk to answer repetitive questions through human-like conversations. So generally, this is more or less the same. So there are some questions that can be easily categorized and like frequently asked, and this helps to limit the conversational length and making the customer receive the information as quickly as possible. So if we take the quote or definition, interactive voice response or IVR is an automated telephone system technology that enables callers to receive or provide information or make requests using voice or menu input without speaking to a live agent. So the majority in here is that you communicate through voice or any other thing that can transfer your voice, like tablet or even laptop, for the technology to retrieve the information from you and then go back to retrieving the information from the database it has. And with a live agent is a human. So in these definitions, live agents are the humans. So generally, this is the conversation that happens between customer and the technology, but more or less like human-like conversation without the texting back and forth. I'm sure that if you call to the banks or some systems, you might sometimes be frustrated because the voice chatbot doesn't understand maybe the accent or the speed is a little bit too much or something like that. But generally, this is a very fast, quickly growing trend, and I believe that after the training, it might be a very nice way for you to speed up the business activities and come across very interesting results by not pressuring the leave agents or the human service support by the same repetitive questions. And also, these voice chatbots can make an appointment, can help you to, answer the questions like about parking, like the booking changes, opportunities, and so all that. So that's about the voice chatbots and generative AI chatbots. These are the growing trend. So these are the chatbots that don't necessarily go back and forth by through learning about what you want, either textually or through voice, and then going back to what they have, and this flow of the dialogue. But they tend to create. So, for example, as generative AI creates text and visuals, the same goes with chatbot. The ChatGPT, of course, the very popular, the very popular thing that is a representative of the uh, Gen AI and generative AI, because general AI is a little bit different. And this is about the fact that it talks to you, the technology talks to you, but not based on the dialogue which was developed and trained through the chatbot builder, programmer, engineer, but it's something that the replies are created by the chatbot itself. So if you're interested, I will look up several examples, but nevertheless, this is also a very nice thing to know. And the final thing for this lecture is to link how we can benefit from chatbots in the field of MarTech. And as you can see here, I took it from the website of the company that creates and provides the chatbot opportunities, and as a service to businesses. And as you can see here, they separated their offerings into three categories, because I can address it through the perspective of the academic approach, but it's better to see in a more straightforward and more or less simple ways of how it is formulated by the service provider themselves, what they want to achieve, what they want the companies to achieve. So we have support, marketing, and sales. Obviously, I do have questions about separating marketing from support and sales, because marketing is a very huge umbrella term that covers both support and sales in a way. But let's stick to the terms and definitions that are here. So in terms of support, we can see here that the approaches are to answer common questions with a virtual agent. Virtual agent, once again, in a difference from the live agent, is the one that's technology powered thing. So this is basically the dialogue window. So answer common questions. So it's about the frequently asked question representative. So it's possible to just make it really quickly. The information about what you're interested in, resolve consumers' problems or customers' problems, like when is money going to be back, when is the delivery, also these sort of things. Create support ticket. So, for example, it can write down the request of the customer, and if it cannot handle it, it can make this request in a written form and send it to the tech department. Send links to help center send links to help center articles or other educational content. So, for example, if customer doesn't know what to do something, it's possible for the chatbot to direct them to the article where it's written how to solve the particular problem. And of course, transfer to Live Agent. Live Agent, once again, is human support, like support department human or something like that, like employee who can further talk to the customer as human to human. When I talk about marketing, it is, as far as I understand from this sequence of approaches, it is more about the ways how you can make it more or less lead generation approach. So how to make the customer interested in communicating, and how to initiate this communication, a conversation of not losing the lead that got initially interested in what you have to offer. So we have first initiate conversation proactively with greetings. So when the window pops up while you're browsing and gives you the opportunity to engage with it through very straightforward options. Usually it's obtained through the menu-based chatbot. Educate about products and services, like popping up and saying, "Oh, do you know that we have like 50% discount or something like that?" Then collect leads and pass them to email marketing lists. So, for example, if you want to learn more about that, please leave your email here. If or for example, I'm sorry, I cannot really answer this question, but you can leave your email and we will come back to you with the reply shortly and something like that. Then and launch AI bot on landing page to boost conversations. So, for example, if initially the menu base doesn't really work, so there can uh, come up an avatar which says, okay, I have like my name is, I don't know, something, and let's talk what you're interested in. So like a sales representative, but in a digital form. In terms of sales, of course, it's about increasing um, sales and consequently the profit and turnover, obviously. So it's about qualify and segment leads. So for example, whether it's a real human that's interested, or it's just a person who doesn't necessarily mean to follow the purchasing approach for their process. And make some sort of indications or labeling about these needs for the humans behind that to understand what they're working with, and not to irritate the lead with unnecessary questions. For example, if that's the case, create personalized sales offers. So, for example, based on IP address or cookies, or have CRM system where the person logs in, it's possible to directly address them with the individualized offering, and then pass leads to CRM, the customer relationship management systems or department, for them to further take this conversation to make it more profitable and increase the lifetime value of this particular customer lead. Transfer qualified chats to sales representatives. So generally, if they understand that person wants to learn more and is ready to engage in service or product, they can directly lead them to the leave agents, as we call them nowadays, or humans or employees. And schedule meetings. So, for example, if the person wants to talk to the sales representative, it's possible for them to get this information and link both the database of the sales representatives and to see if there is a free spot, then direct it to give this information to customer, get their email, and for example, if it's based on Gmail, it's possible to make these meetings in a Google, and they can, tell them, can I connect to your timetable for me to fit it in the spot for you not to forget, send you reminders. So all that automations just goes behind that. And that is also about these possibilities the chatbot can actually offer. And even based on this quite a short, I would say, table, it's really possible to see what it does for MarTech or for marketing in general in terms of strategy as well. And well, that's just for an overview. I think it's quite enough for you not to get too overwhelmed with that. So I think that yeah, there are the sources that are going to be the clickable ones in the description. And also, as you can see here, I have several other things that might interest you if you're decided to stay until now. So I have a website with all the possibilities for you to learn more about marketing, about MarTech, about English for marketers, because as you can see, we have plenty of terms, and these terms are very often used, and sometimes they're not really properly used, unfortunately. So this work with definitions indeed help to be on a common ground with everyone you communicate with professionally. Open lectures like these ones are also going to take place, I presume, twice a week. And if you're interested, you're more than welcome to join. I'm practicing my lecture giving skills, and I hope that you're also going to learn more. Mart Talks, these are the open discussion or speaking clubs where you will have a chance to communicate and practice your conversational skills, maybe learn from others and use the terms that you're not really familiar with. I moderate this conversation and don't predominantly talk during the Mar talks, but it's a very nice way for you to use English in the marketing related fields for you to see what you know, what you need to learn about more, and also meet different people and a nice networking opportunity. And the MarTech guide, this is the PDF formatted document which I created based on 12 years of my experience in the academic and corporate settings in marketing or MarTech related field. And this is something that I wrote myself, trying to help you to navigate when, what, how, and where to learn, because these the major approach of this initiative is to help you to learn and succeed. So, without further ado, thanks a lot. I really hope that it was useful for you. The next lecture is going to be there. You're more than invited to follow me on the social media for you to get the information right away and all the links directly. So, thanks a lot for staying with me. I really hope that it was useful for you. So, see you at the next online open lecture. Nachwam, please.